wonder if I should do something like I did my old intros, where I come and I sit down. I would walk in and just sit down. If I should start doing no, that make it kind of obvious. I got that from the Hodge twins. Yeah. So, well, folks, well, if you notice, if you were in Discord, I conveniently left out of the conversation and deafened everything. And now I'm here. It's magic. We're going to go back to good old D-Roy. Good old Uncle D-Roy. He thought I was over. No, sir. No. You still deleting videos, but that's okay. That is all right, Uncle D-Roy. We already got him. That's fine. As a matter of fact, we got more videos than you think. Matter of fact, I watched a video that somebody sent me. And I'm not going to say where it was posted, but there's a video where Uncle D-Roy is playing ukulele in front of a congregation. The audio on this video is terrible, and so is the video quality. But it's a small little church, and let's say the composition of that church is unsurprising to me, given some of his rhetoric. But it is what it is. So this video, folks, not watch this one. This is fresh. I listened to another one yesterday where we'll talk about that one maybe. But this video, I stopped an almost atheist from becoming an atheist. Oh my goodness. Sly Cooper's at it again. He is now, and it's had to be, I think, 8 months ago, I want to say. I want to say it was about 8 months ago. Yeah, about 8 months ago, 9 months ago. He supposedly has used his skills as your life applications officer and stop somebody who was more than likely a backslidden Christian. That's probably what it was. Someone who was weak in the faith, and he go brother, go read this scripture, and you'll feel okay with what's going on in your life. And you know what? They went back to the way they fucking were. That more than likely. But I'm going to make some predictions. Again, I've not actually watched this. Believe me. We're going to hear a few tangents. We're going to probably hear about his work life and stuff that has nothing to do with the topic at all. Now, mind you, if the person he's talking about is at his job, then that's pertinent. Like, his work is then pertinent. But his interaction with other coworkers that he's upset with, nothing to do with this. Probably hear about some really homoerotic shit. It's going to be the obligatory gay story. I don't know why. Every video he has to, or every video, but with atheists, I'll say that, or atheism, it has to include something gay, some homoerotic narrative at some point. He cannot help it, it seems. Cannot help it. Just, my goodness. But with the LGBTIAQP, you can't help but to talk about how they do the gay, and they indoctrinate people into being gay. So, as myself, I will do my best to try and put education inside of your skull. My God, that's stupid. Anyway, I'm gonna go make some coffee. Let me roll this intro, folks. Let's get on with it. Let's get on. Give a quick shout out to my patrons, my benefactors, people who send the nudes. You are awesome. What's going on, people? How y'all doing? Shit. Okay. Came back just in time. Had to refill the Keurig and all that good shit. So, retro braits, raptor baits. Did y'all get that from him? Is that one of the things that he tried to say but failed? I don't know. All right. Hashtag same as yours. Oh, Jesus. My cousin just sent me something. He sent me something from my wife. Oh, that's fucked up. That's funny and sexist. I'm sending that. Okay. Anyway. Whew. This is your life applications officer, D-Roy Cruz, here. And today we're going to discuss how I stopped an almost atheist from becoming an atheist. Now I want y'all here to know that this is not for the faint of heart. We're going to get a Sky Out parody. I cannot fall down enough stairs and survive to do a parody of Sky Out. That is to say, he is literally too stupid for me to imitate. That is no small feat, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, I cannot predict how stupid he is. I really don't know, because with Cruz, it's easy. He has certain idiosyncrasies that I can pick up on. He has certain lines. He always uses, he takes internet kind of seriously. But Sky Out, I really do think he has an extra chromosome. I wasn't just saying that to insult him. Like, I really do think that he's a few fries short of a goddamn Happy Meal and a toy. That boy's slow. So probably shouldn't I should probably pick on the slow kids. It's mean. It's mean. But he wants to play in the big boys pool pit, so have at it. Oh man, I love coffee in the morning. Love it. All right, let's get to this.
Well, hey, D-Roy Cruz here, your life applications officer. A video that I want to do right now is going to be kind of quick. I was blessed today to actually talk to someone that I wouldn't call him an atheist, and he doesn't want to call himself an atheist. But he has a daughter who is an atheist, and his daughter has been teaching him through the things that his family had to suffer. 3 different things. She's been teaching him how to be an atheist. Now, he was raised Catholic, and he was raised Catholic, his wife's Catholic.
Yeah, so this is already sped up, by the way. He's talking way too fast. Y'all know that I sped him up ahead of time. See, we're already there. We're already there.
His kids kind of went their own way, and one of his kids, his daughter, is an atheist. His daughter clearly says that there is no God. This has been the only atheist, or would-be atheist, could be atheist, on his way to being an atheist. Now, some atheists are so arrogant, they think there's something they're not. They'll sit there and say, well, either he's an atheist or he's not. Either he's a Christian or he's not, okay? If you're not a Christian, it doesn't matter, okay? You can call yourself an atheist. You can call yourself an agnostic. Jesse Lee Patterson. You can call yourself an agnostic. If you're not Christian, you can call yourself anything you want to call yourself. Okay? But
Jesse Lee Patterson. You can call yourself that. I called it, folks. There was somebody who was a Christian and they're backsliding. And so he talked to him and they went back to the way the fuck they were. Like, that is actually a hard transition for a lot of people to make. So I called it. I don't think for a second Mr. DeRoy Cruz actually has the knowledge or the skill to convert somebody to Christianity. That's just me. That's my honest opinion. Honest ass opinion. I could, especially if someone was not raised religious and they've been an atheist. I don't think that he has that type of skill, like, or knowledge, or patience. That's way above his life application officer pay grade. He's at pay grade 01. You need to be at least 05. So we're not there yet.
You know, you're not a Christian, so it doesn't matter. It's just like when we're talking about the United States going to war. Who has the right to talk about war more than anybody else and what that entails? If you're not a Marine, if you're not a Navy SEAL, okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I said things about going to war and, you know, argued with. I've had people. I remember when Bush was sending people to.
Here we go, folks. We're not even 5 minutes in. We got another fucking tangent that he needs to go on. Tell us, old man DeRoy. Old man Cruz. Tell us another story. Tell us a story, old man.
Sending people to Iraq. Remember when Bush was sending people to Iraq and everybody was protesting and fussing and getting mad at Bush because he wouldn't bring, you know, our Marines home? He had them out there in the Middle East. Like he was trying to get them to move out there, you know. What's next? He going to draft their wives and make them move to Iraq? You know what I mean? But I tell you what, even though I voted for Bush, I spoke out against Bush. Because I said, you know what, I voted for Bush, but this thing he got going on with our soldiers is just wrong. And somebody that was a Marine that had just come back from Iraq was scheduled to go back in 2 weeks. I didn't know the dude was even in the room. He corrected me. And he told me, okay, what it's all about, like somebody that's there and sees what it's all about. Okay? You can't be on the outside looking in and talk about the inside. Until you get inside, you don't know. Okay, so before you sit there and say, oh, well, either he's an atheist or he's not, which is it? There is no conversion into atheism. See, in order to be converted as a Christian, a set of things happen as you confess and believe. But in order to be an atheist, you were already an atheist before you became an atheist. You see what I'm saying? It's dumb. You were already an atheist. If you were an atheist when you went to church. Some atheists are honest. Okay? Just like
that's weird. So you can't actually okay, I guess I understand in a sense. Either you take, well, actually no, because that's you can be ambivalent. No, I don't, because I'm trying to be very charitable to Uncle DeRoy. I'm trying to be very, very charitable. I'm trying to find a way to articulate his old man ravings into something that is at least somewhat coherent. You can be on the fence. There are people, a perfect example, and let me go on a young man rant. There are people who acknowledge science, but are still quite a bit fearful. They're called OTF. If you're not in any anti-vax groups, you're probably not seen that. OTF is on the fence, and so they are exactly as I just described. But there are people who are anti-vaxxers. They take the anti-position. There are people who are pro-vax who take the affirmative. So it's interesting here that his distinction is very, very black and white. Very black and white. But even in his description, he describes an almost atheist. So on one hand, there's a clear distinction. There's no gradients anywhere in his mind, but in his own description there is in the title. So what is an almost atheist? What is an almost Christian in this sense, right? How does that fit in with the narrative that we're receiving now from our life application officer? It'd be wonderful if he was at least consistent with his own bullshit. Sorry, Uncle DeRoy. You need to actually sit down and think about things before you say them. I know when what's interesting to me is that when I do these videos, I'm doing them off the cuff. I often don't actually watch the videos. I just will go, you know what? Let me have the knowledge that I have on me. And if it's a good day and I remember all of my science, I might get all of my science right. And, you know, I might get some of the philosophy right. I don't know. But it's a good practice. It's a good exercise for me on how to recall information and how to respond in the moment. Like, this is good practice for me. And it's fun. But when you're doing what you're doing, was what I used to do, is that you sit down and you think about things, you intake information. You usually watch a YouTube video, or you're just coming home from work. So there's something that kind of triggers this. It's something that elicits these videos. And you record them on one device and then you transfer it to the computer. Well, you do have the ability to speed it up and listen to yourself and to cut out the portions that don't fit what you're saying. There's editing. Like, you can do simple editing where you're just cutting out stuff. The simplest editing you could probably do. But it's just like, all right, stream of consciousness. Well, I'm just going to say things, and people need to listen to my stream of consciousness, which really amounts to me ranting about situations at work and, me expressing some of my homoerotic fantasies. And then, that's kind of the stuff that I intersperse with the actual meat and potatoes of what I want to say. Like, that's kind of what we get here when we listen to a D-Roy video. But man, oh man, if you think that this is supposed to help somebody, or these videos are supposed to, I don't know who these videos are for, honestly. If I had to just come out and say, I have no idea who the target audience of these videos are for. Because are they for Christians? Do Christians find this edifying at all? Maybe the ones with Bible verses in them. But I don't see how this can really help a Christian that much. Maybe. Are these for an atheist? Because atheists, especially ones on YouTube, aren't convinced by what you have forth here. This is not anything other than you don't actually know enough about philosophy or science or much of anything to convince anyone that you know what you're talking about. Not to mention the aforementioned issues that, you kind of sprinkle in all your little videos. So no, who is the target audience here? What are you trying to get across? Do you really think that it's reaching at that audience? I don't know. I would love to know if you think that, and I'd like to see some receipts.
Like, some atheists will say, well, I never became a Christian, and I couldn't become a Christian because it just wasn't clicking right with me, so I became an atheist. Okay, that sounds true. But when you say, oh, I was a Christian and I did this and I loved the Lord and I blah, 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 and then one day I woke up, no, one day you went to sleep. Or you were sleeping on a job. You never woke up in the first place. You're sleeping while we're doing this video. Okay, you've been sleeping. Okay?
Here we go. No true Christian. Yeah, and that's interesting. That's interesting that now because when I hear Christians say stuff like that, it's like, man, you must be psychic. You must know exactly what that person has been through in their life and what they felt. And a part of me, back in my younger days, I hear shit like that and I go, man, it's very interesting. So if you say that, then I can just go, well, you don't believe any of this. You just ignorant, right? You don't know a lot about science or philosophy. And so it's easier for you just to, use religion to undergird your morals and defer to your sky daddy rather than you sitting down and thinking about the implications of you coming up with your own kind of systems of morals, or just going, you know what, there's a social contract and I'll kind of figure it out as I go along, and just be responsible for your own moral actions rather than deferring to, well, Jesus made me do it. I'm just trying to follow Jesus. Back in my younger days, I would have probably said some shit like that. Oh, you got a testimony? You were delusional. The end. But I don't do that anymore. That's not my place to do that. I don't know your life. I'm not inside your head. How would I know anything about that? I could guess, sure. But what evidence would I have to support that? And it's a pretty dick move, if I had to say so myself. But people like Mr. D-Roy here get upset. If I were to do that to him, if I were to say, let me hear your testimony. Oh, Mr. D-Roy. Well, for one thing, we already know that you ain't that well educated. So it doesn't surprise me that you believe in bullshit. It doesn't surprise me that you can't reason. There's no rationale to much of anything that you do other than there's an ignorant ass motherfucker coming to the same conclusion that his mammy and pappy came to. Awesome. In a first world country, you are a Christian. Man, you've accomplished so much. I could be really patronizing. Really, really patronizing. But what would that do? Would that give me atheist points? Would that actually show that I'm somehow more intellectually superior to you? Like, what exactly would that accomplish? Or, let me take people's word for it. Yeah, maybe this person had some type of experience. And you know what? For them, it just resonated with them in just such a way that it convinced them that this proposition was true. Now, whether or not that's sufficient evidence for other people, who knows? That's an internal justification that you can use to come to that conclusion, and we can talk about external justifications later. So, and we can leave it there. We can leave it there without trying to shit on people's experiences, because I've noticed that not too many Christians like folks challenging their testimony. Maybe you could reciprocate just a little bit, just a fraction of that for other people, Mr. D. Roy.
And I like the way Jesse Lee Patterson put that, or Patterson or Peterson. I like the way he put that. People that are asleep and people that are awake. And that is the truth
People
of
that
anything
awoke.
in life. There are people that are sleeping, and there are people that are spiritually ill. And when you, like this brother, this old man told me today, when you claim that you can look at something negative and attack a positive because of something negative, okay? You know what I'm saying? It's just like this. For example, first of all, if there is no God, then there's no God there for you to criticize. Secondly, if God is a man, if he is one of us, a human, or a human, even a human with supernatural powers, whatever you think God is, okay? If you're on a football team, the only way that you can judge the quarterback is if you played quarterback, okay? People that don't have a driver's license can't judge people that drive, okay? You know what I'm saying? You know,
I love these analogies. To some degree, I will say that when you talk about the experiential aspect of certain scenarios, we'll say that there is a time and a place where, yes, you have to fulfill that role in order to truly understand. And I'm specifically identifying the experiential aspect of that. You can't describe to someone with enough detail what it's like to prepare for war unless they've done it. They can read as many stories as they want to. They can hear testimonials until you've actually done it. And some of the other vets in the chat can tell you that is a harrowing experience, training yourself or being trained, being indoctrinated into going against your natural inclinations towards self-preservation. That is something that takes a long time to beat out of you. But that does not mean you become a subject matter expert on how to conduct warfare. That is a bit different. That is an actual academic topic taught by people, guess what, who specialize in military science, people who have studied wars and conflicts for literally years. There are people with PhDs who have never become soldiers, never become Marines, never become sailors, never became airmen in their life. But they are experts in how warfare is conducted because that is an academic topic. Again, I'm drawing that distinction, Mr. Cruz, that you don't seem to really realize here, but because it requires just a bit of nuance. Having the experience of fulfilling that role within this scenario differs from having knowledge on the broader topic. There is a huge difference, huge difference between that. Yes, someone can give their opinion on how war is conducted based on precedent. Wars have been conducted ever since man first figured out we could pick up a stick. And you can look back on what tactics were used without ever having to pick up a rifle ever in your life. If you receive an op order and it details all the hazards about conducting this operation, the timetable, and certain goals that need to be accomplished by the end of said mission, people who aren't actually conducting the mission can assess that. That's kind of what op orders are for. After action reviews are conducted by people who weren't actually doing the mission. So it does take a little bit of nuance, a little bit of context here when we're talking about these things. And I understand this is an analogy, But within this analogy, Mr. Cruz, you still violate your own little paradigm, because you begin to speak for atheists. You begin to speak from people, from the perspective of folks that you're not really that familiar with yourself. You spoke a little bit about folks who have some disbelief, but man, something tells me you've not actually taken that plunge, because that same game can be played with you. How are you speaking on topics of atheism and how atheists think when you've not fulfilled that role yourself? So on the one hand, you're prescribing a set of actions as to what people should and should not do when they have this discourse. But then on the other hand, you won't preclude yourself from that same thing that you're prescribing other people to do. Other people should curtail their narrative around that. But you don't. That's not for you, obviously. You're a lot like G-Man. A lot like G-Man in that aspect. You want to make these rules of war. You want to make, this is the protocol by which all should follow, but you're not going to do that, Mr. Cruz. And I think that's why you stopped making videos, because you realize it's really easy for me to pick up on that sort of thing, because I kind of keep a running record of things that people say. Especially the more that I look over the things that they do, their body language, all kinds of stuff. I'm looking at a lot of stuff that most people miss. But I have noticed something. Yeah, and I see why now that you identify yourself with good old G-Man. You two are very, very much alike. Very much. You both are incredible hypocrites. And I've been a hypocrite at certain times. That's fine. Call me out. Call me out. Please do. And I acknowledge it. But Mr. Cruz, you seem to thrive on hypocrisy. You seem to thrive on being able to sit here and say, well, let me look down my nose at you, and we're gonna conduct the pedagogical arts together. And I'm gonna be, you even made up a title for yourself. A life applications officer. You need to get your life together first before you apply that to anybody else, my man. That's something that you gotta work on before you start trying to instruct others on how they can fuck up their life. I'm just saying. Make up a title for yourself called "I'ma do for me first." A self-edification officer. Work on that role, then we'll rank you up. We'll ping you some stripes on you being able to do something for somebody else. Because right now, I don't see anything worth emulating. Show to me and every other atheist that you actually know what the fuck you're talking about, and then maybe we can talk about that. But I find that hilarious.
If you ain't never been on a motorcycle, you can't judge somebody that rides a motorcycle. Just like I don't know if I would enjoy being on a motorcycle or not. I tell myself that I hate motorcycles because they're noisy and it takes, compared to scooters, it takes a lot to get on a motorcycle and ride. But if I learn how to ride a motorcycle, I might enjoy it and I might be addicted to it. I don't know. I've never been there, okay? But some things are worth trying out because they are a serious component to life. And you know where I'm going with this. But, unless you are God, is what I'm saying. Unless you're walking in his shoes, you cannot say why God has to do things a certain way. Because there's nothing here on earth, on this planet, that is so perfect that you can look at that and say, well, why can't God be like this? Nothing. There is nothing. For example, the day you were born, a child is not more sophisticated than his parents. A student is not greater than his master or his teacher. That's biblical, okay? When you was a kid, your parents didn't let you do anything and everything you wanted to do. And they did things. And they said things. And there were ways about your parents that you hated. There's ways about our parents that we all hated. I remember when I was a kid, my mom always blamed me for everything. And always blamed the perpetrator second. And I know why she did it. I understand today why she did it, because she wanted me to be perfect. She wanted me to understand that no matter where I go, what I do, I'm going to be on top. I'm going to be the best man there. And I see how even in my work style and things in my life today, how the things that my mom was really hard on me about shows me how to be a better man at my own hurt. I mean, anywhere I go today, I put authority first. Who's in charge here? Who's running this account? Who's the boss of this job?
Or maybe your mom was probably mentally ill to some degree, or had some emotional issues that she needed to work out, because my mother wanted me to take responsibility of what's going on. My little brothers, I'm the oldest. If they fucked up, it was my responsibility because that was my role. But you can teach someone responsibility by not absolving the person who actually perpetrated the crime or the incident. That's interesting. It almost sounds like you're trying to offer some post hoc rationale on what happened. I mean, that if that helps you sleep at night, then that's fine. But maybe that might be why you have such weird interpersonal issues. And I actually put this in the chat. If some of y'all actually take some time and just passively listen to some of his other videos, you'll notice this pattern. There's always some really weird, really strenuous. I shouldn't say string. It's I had all the best words and I lost all the best words, folks. There's always tension between him and other people, and it's not I had a bad day at work. People just kind of seem to be on edge. There's always something with him and other people, whether it be at the bus stop, whether mostly at this job. There's always some tension, and there's one common denominator: him. And it's never him. It is never, and you'll actually catch this in the last video that I watched. He went on a 5-minute rant about somebody who is superior to him, who was, he was being reprimanded on his lunch break. And he talked about this person. It took about 5 minutes for me to actually hear that this person did outrank him, and this person was reprimanding him for something. But then it became about this person not having a door on their office, and he had a door on his, and they were somehow jealous that he had a door on his office, and that they needed to respect him a certain way, even though he was being reprimanded. And it was such an odd story, because he began to absolve himself from anything that was going on, and the focus was, well, this person who reprimands me, who outranks me, this person addressed me the wrong way. Well, if you're being reprimanded, my man, it is what it is. Maybe that's the military in me, but you know what? Of course, you should respect another person, but if you're getting your shit chewed, you're getting your shit chewed. But it is interesting. It is very interesting to hear his depiction of events. It's very interesting. But I had to throw that out there. I want to definitely suggest that folks spend some time listening to some of his other videos and see if you pick up on that. I might be wrong. I will reserve the right to be wrong and correct it. Please. Of course, good old D-Roy hasn't done anything wrong. He's just good old boy, old-fashioned sovereign citizen. Yeah. Oh, is he actually sovereign citizen? Oh, God, please, no. No.
Who am I working for? Who's signing my paycheck? Okay? They're the ones I respect. They're the ones that I listen to. They're the ones that I want to be on their good side because they're signing my paycheck. I'm blessed through God, through them, to have a home and have food on my table. Okay? So, give respect to where respect is due. Now, so this video don't become long as my other ones. I met a man today to whom he almost said he was an atheist, and then he acted like he was afraid to say he was an atheist. But he's a guy I work with, and I never knew that he had given up on God a long time ago. I didn't know that because, people my age and older are...
So, I have a kind of a question. He seems to really be peering into people's personal lives. Speaking of things you be picking up on, does anybody get the feeling, because I think somebody else said it in the chat, he seems like the type of guy that just kind of goes up and starts asking about your personal life. He seems like that guy at work, who he needs to know who he's working with, so he is going to pry into your personal life in order to find out your political affiliation, your religious affiliation, where you shop at, who your mama and them is, and all that kind of stuff. He seems like that guy, because that guy is at everybody's job. Everybody has that guy. Everyone has the gossip girl. Everyone has the shit starter. We know the tropes, right? He seems like that guy. And it would not make it wouldn't be far-fetched, to me at least, that guy gets into a lot of interpersonal issues with people. Because if he's going out and he's doing this, because I don't know too many people who go up, you know what? I'm having a lot of struggling with Christianity. Let's talk about it. Not too many people do that. I can't think of a time where someone randomly just accosts me, or a coworker accosts me and goes, I'm having some struggles with my religious affiliation. Let me talk to you about it. That's kind of a odd thing. No, but correct, far-fetched is actually a term. I learned about the Pokemon Farfetch'd. It's like, oh, where does he get his name from? Oh, that's actually a word. Oh, okay, far-fetched. Okay, well, you know, that you learn something new. But yeah, it seems like this guy is seeking these engagements with people. And when he finds these engagements, then they become fodder for his channel. They become fodder from his. I said fart. They become fodder for his channel and for his narrative, for his church. More than like, I could almost guarantee he said this at church at some point. Oh, that this person didn't want to call himself an atheist. He was right there. I brought him back though. Jesus be willing. Awesome. That's cool. We'll get you a toaster. We will get you a toaster. But man, oh man, does he love it? You know what? Let's continue.
Are usually old-fashioned about whether there is a God or not. We're Donald Trump people. People my age and older, most of us voted for Donald Trump. Most of us are traditional Americans. Most of us are, if we're Christian, we're traditional Christians. If we're not Christians, we're traditional secular people. And traditional secular people, most of them weren't atheists. Let me say that again. Most traditional secular people were not atheists. They were agnostic. They believed in God. They just didn't believe in the Pentecostal church or the Baptist church, or they didn't believe in the Catholic church, or they didn't believe in the Mormons. Okay.
So it's again, what he's describing is not agnostic, and I'm not getting into the definition of this shit at all. We got somebody else to do that and to talk about that ad nauseum, okay? I understand what he's referring to. It sounds like people who he calls suckler are non-denominational Christians. They're anti-church, they're probably anti-social, probably fairly insular folks who are Christian. They just don't claim a denomination. I want to say my mother's probably a lot like that. If she had to, she could probably identify maybe Methodists, possibly. If I had to name one, if she had to name one, probably Methodist. But they're not caught up with the denomination. But they believe in the Judeo-Christian God. So it's a weird way that he likes to describe these things, but that's fine. I understand what he's saying. So it is very interesting that he is not obsessed, but he is definitely leaning on what he sees as the status quo. Fat Courtney Love. I love these names. All right, thanks for subbing. I didn't get a notification yet. It's weird because something's supposed to pop up when I get notifications. I like to know where people find my channel from, though. This, I love. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, actually, let's take a break. Let's take a break. So let me. Oh, and when I say take a break from Uncle D-Roy, because some of you may. Oops.
Okay.
There we go. Has YouTube been showing that people have been live and they're not? Are y'all getting that too? Have y'all been noticing that? That if you look in like the side chat or your homepage, that it'll say that someone's live and they're not. I've been getting it. I think a few other people. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. It's really annoying too, because like, oh shit, I'm missing somebody. I'm named after Shandy's face. Anyway, so some of y'all might not know, but G-Man and I have been emailing each other because I sent him a facetious email the other day, and How many of y'all know that we brought up G-Man's supposed family? Now, he said something very interesting the other day in this email. And I'm not going to share the whole thing. There's certain screenshots, and he's cool with people. Like, I know he shows people my emails. I don't care. But he said something very interesting, and I did share it in Discord. And I think some of y'all might find this very interesting. And that's why I said when we take a break, I was waiting for people to actually get the second or third round of notifications because this is very interesting. Very interesting. So, some of y'all know that because I was making fun of G-Man. He's still upset, by the way. I'll give you a summation. G-Man is upset that y'all donate to me. Very upset. I said, hey, I'm going to give you a tip. Quit mentioning it live. The more you do it, the more people are going to donate. They're doing it to piss you off. But I said it's interesting that even some of them have realized that when you say that you only watch the first few minutes, you are lying. Because no one donates to me in the first few minutes. The first few minutes after the intro is me just kind of giving a brief little chat, reviewing something that might not even be the main video. But I don't really get anything until halfway through, like at least 30 or 45 minutes in. So you don't watch it after that point, but then you do notice that people are donating around those times. Yeah, how do you know? Because even in one video, he names the amounts that some of y'all gave, like $2 and $5 and $10 or whatever. Like he actually named the sequence. It's like, well, how would you know unless you saw that? And so he thank you, Dickus G-Man, you were jealous. He is jealous. So his narrative now is that I need the money. And he knows I need it. So I said, okay, if you know I'm desperately in need of the money, then what bills am I paying with YouTube money? Because I told him, I was like, it goes towards savings, some towards fishing gear, and then food for the wife usually, or like gas money. Because I'm pretty open about what happens to it.
I stole $3,000.
And so the conversation then kind of took a turn where it's like, look, dude, it's obvious you're jealous. Just do yourself a favor. So about 24 hours ago, here's what I said. I said, again, how do you even know I get donations since you only watch the first 3 minutes? LOL. My life isn't YouTube unlike you. I have a family and a future. Meanwhile, you had to lie and make up one and then get caught rolling the floor, laugh my ass off. That's the email I sent to G-Man about 24 hours ago. Thank you, Viva. G-Man Ritzoff Kunthoven. Yeah. So here's the email that he responded to me with, and y'all will find this interesting. Obviously, at one point I did. I said, hold on for a second. I just shot on him because I said,
I stole $3,000.
What's that? Jeremy Pace, shot on me tonight for you, for you drag you mad G-Man. Right. Like, I had sent him an email and said, I have a family and a future. Meanwhile, you had to lie and make one up and then you got caught. His immediate response was, obviously, at one point I did.
I stole $3,000.
Really? Oh, I went in on that ass. So you mean to tell me that you somehow started a family and there's kids out there that you ain't supporting? That makes it worse. I would accept the fact that he made up the story. That's just funny. But now you're a negligent fucking father and husband or former husband? Really? That makes it worse. Now you really ain't shit. Jeez. It's G-Man. He's probably lying now. But still, he's not helping himself at all. Not helping himself. That's sad. That's fucking sad. So I figured some of y'all might like that. A little bit of info. It could be true. He could have found. I don't know. There's you know what? There's certain people stupid enough to let him impregnate him. Trust me. There's people in my own family that could get in situations with guys and yeah, still getting impregnated by him. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So it's possible. It's very, very possible in this day and age. But now he's a no shit fucking father? That's sad, because you know he can barely support himself. Barely support himself. He's a pathological liar. Anyway.
Or the the Mormons or the Jehovah's Witnesses or any, and then there's people who believe that, Islam and Christianity are the same thing because they didn't do their homework, so stop fighting and bickering, okay? Only one of these 5 Ingleries, or 6, whichever number it is that I mentioned, only one of them is Christian, and even that is Christian by the idea that it gets better and stops, misbehaving, okay? But I met this man today. I was blessed to meet a man today. Things have changed on my job, and my job is a little bit less work on me lately, and a lot of things. I'm sorry for some of the things that have happened, the changes that have happened, but I'm also more relaxed, and I'm less. There's a lot of issues that are not going on. There's some good issues. We had a change in the contract, and this, a week ago, and things have changed drastically for me as the post that I work, and for other people as well, and especially for the client that we support. Things have changed drastically for all of us, and because of that, because I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off, because I'm not worried about, even the other, my partner on a job. I have a lady partner. I do the afternoon shift. She does the midnight shift. Thank God, I'm glad she picked midnight, because it ain't happening here. It ain't happening. Had enough of that. But she wanted midnight. It's best for her. Thank you, Lord. Go on and take it, ma'am. You can have it. But she wanted to do all the paperwork. Okay, I can do the minor paperwork, and I only have to.
What the fuck does this have to do with atheists? Well, we're going on another old man rant. Thanks, Annabelle. Make the most of it. I'm feeling generous because it's Friday. Go buy Mrs. D a cocktail. She'll get some cock. Don't worry. But matter of fact, Annabelle, how y'all doing with that Muslim president of Europe? I'm still trying to find that one. But what the fuck does this have to do with your story? Why? Why? I don't understand why we need to know about the lady partner that you got, and she likes to do the paperwork, and don't she eat the pudding pops? Like, why? Why is any of this included in the guy that you were for? Hold on. So the guy that you encountered, which I'm assuming is the almost atheist person. So we went from that, and we're like, okay, cool. We're going to hear the origin story of Almost Atheist, because I would have loved to hear about that about 14 minutes ago. That would have been nice. Expatriate, if you don't get that reference, the Muslim president of Europe reference, you missed a video. You missed a video. You missed actually, yeah, I think was it 3 videos ago. The last video that I did of this guy, he said that there is a Muslim president of Canada and a Muslim president of Europe. I would have said that's what the quote was. But mind you, these videos are about 8 months ago, so if that has any relevance. We're on another tangent. We're going to hear about the lady who takes the night shift, and he's glad that she takes the night shift, and she likes doing the paperwork. Oops, shit. Okay. I pulled something. I had an owie. There we go. I need to get a longer USB. I need one of those USB to USB cables to make this thing longer. So I want him to get to the motherfucking point. at some goddamn time. Please.
Paperwork once a week now. She wants my paperwork, and I'm like, wow, okay, you're going to do all the paperwork. I'm going to deal with all the disciplinary stuff and that. That's fine. And she's fine with it. My boss is fine with it. That's fine. If you think that I'm so busy that I don't have time for BS, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you think of me that way. However, today, while I was doing my rounds, I had time to BS. Which my boss understands that she doesn't want me to just go and look over people's shoulder, but she wants me to be there and talk with them and ask questions, answer questions, help in any way that I can, make sure everything's running smoothly, which takes a burden off the client. Okay, now getting to it. Me and this guy got to talking, and we were talking about difficulties on this, difficulties with the new job setup, with the changes in the contract. And somehow, I love to say things that shed light on the gospel. And I said something on the lines of, I can't wait till the next life.
So, the time that he was using on the job to BS, he's going to use it to proselytize. That's an excellent, very professional idea. That's definitely a very, 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 very professional move for you to make, Mr. D. Cruz. That is what everyone else should emulate in their job. That's so cool. As a life application officer, you are going to take it upon yourself to inject your religious views in on the workplace. The last time I've worked in the job, in the area, in the field that you've worked in, was after the military, where I worked security for a casino. I could have sworn that was a part of one of the things you weren't supposed to do. Like they didn't mind folks chatting every so often, but for us to have a full-on conversation while we're supposed to be watching what's going on, that was kind of a no-no in and of itself. But, topics to stay away from, that would be one of them. And it was just it's one of those things that most people know. I just said something to shed light on the gospel. Mr. D. Cruz, is it your job to proselytize at work or to make sure the premises is secure? Making sure people aren't where they're not supposed to be, that there are no structural deficiencies that you need to report, the grounds are clear of hazards. I've run security details before, in and outside of the military. There's plenty for you to do other than proselytize your goddamn religion. I just me and my personal experience. Since you want to talk about people talking about areas in which they have no experience, that's something I have just a little bit of experience in. And oh, by the way, also rendering medical care should the need arise. I find that really interesting as a life application officer. This is something my mother told me, a Christian who told me that politics and religion ain't something you're supposed to talk to your coworkers about. You're supposed to keep them at arm's length. You're at a workplace. You're not at home. You're not on the block. This isn't social hour. If you're on your lunch break, then y'all talk about what you talk about within company policy. But while you're on the clock, no, sir. Negative. That right there tells me you're not at that job to do a job. You're there for other purposes. But you're going to teach other people how to live life, how to go about doing the things that they're supposed to do. That's very interesting. When you're openly, blatantly violating what most people consider professional decorum. Even Christians, like, you're not there to proselytize. But that's okay. Please continue, Mr. D. Cruz, and show us just how unprofessional you actually are.
I'm ready. This one, and he said something on the lines of, well, yeah, if there was a God, but there's no God, so, and I says to him, you don't believe there's a God? Well, he says, I don't know. I don't understand how there could be a God because, and he went to telling me about human suffering and all that kind of stuff. And he told me that his daughter's an atheist and that he's learned a lot from his daughter. And I corrected him. And I know that when I corrected him, I know that what I said planted seeds. And I'm going to say one thing to you in closing that I said to him. God is not a man that he should lie. God is not a man that he should apologize. He is not a man that he should repent or take back his words. But God is not a man. None of us, first of all, none of us would create something, and when it disrespects us and sins against us, we allow them to continue and allow their sons and their daughters to continue in that sin. To create worlds of people, generations and centuries of people, and in each of these generations, each of these centuries and decades, people die. And out of a certain percentage of the people that die, there's always a remnant that are Christians. True Christians. Okay? Knowing what a Christian is. And I told this old man, he's much older than me. He's going to be retiring soon. And, you know, I really believe I believe that he seen, I believe I planted a seed, first of all, and I believe that he...
So it kind of sounds like maybe the problem of evil. I don't know. I would love for him to actually talk about the problem of evil. If I think that's where he was going with that. I don't know. But something tells me that's not really, let me say that. He probably referenced the problem of evil and gave a shitty apologetic for it. And the old man was like, you know what? You got a point there. God darn it. You know what? I got to think about that. Who knows? But man, oh man. Man, oh man.
He sing where, you know, it's easy to be an atheist when you don't know and you find it hard to, or you don't care, or you don't think it's your business, or you don't think you should have to know more than what you know to make your decision. It's easy to be an atheist. But when you know, or when you really care, it's not so easy to just be an atheist. But I'm glad me and...
That's interesting, though. This is the bit. This is insight, folks. Right here. This is insight. For him, it's almost like if you're simply ignorant to religious beliefs or, I guess, religious doctrines and whatnot, then yeah, it is easy to be an atheist. I guess in a way, I could see that. But even if you are privy to specifically Judeo-Christian beliefs or Muslim beliefs or, any other Taoist beliefs, I don't know. Typically, atheists go towards more education. They go toward more information in order to reevaluate things. They start studying the same fields that you claim that you didn't have to study, which is very weird. Actually, now that I think about it, now that I go back, this is the same guy who said that he didn't have to study science, didn't have to study philosophy, didn't have to study much of theology, actually, at one point he said. And he could come to his same conclusions. Because I remember listening to one of his video responses, one of the few that I actually listened to ahead of time, where he was chastising me for insisting that he should actually look into more science, more philosophy, and that he didn't have to do that. But now, in this video, if you're an atheist, ignorance is what you lean on. That's interesting. That's very interesting to me.
And this man had to talk. I really believe that I believe that I've given him another chance to seek God one more time before he dies, before he leaves this life. To seek God one more time. He ain't going to do it tonight, I'm sure. He might not do it tomorrow. But I believe that before his light goes out, his candle goes out, I believe that he will seek the Lord one more time because of the conversation that we had today. I really believe that God used me today, and this is something that I was praying about before I went to work today. And not only did God bless me with him, but he blessed me with those who, there's a lady at work and she loves to criticize. She loves to put us down, my team down. And she wanted to tell me a responsibility that I should be enlisted in today. And I told her, I went in there, I said, come on. Now, trust me, if I had not called upon the name of the Lord today before I went to work, I'd have never, ever did it. I would have just...
So it sounds like this lady that he's referring to, I can kind of see what's going on, because think about what he said earlier, right? I've been in, God damn it, Angry Rose won that duel. I've been in this scenario where people from a unit that's taken control of something, whether, in many capacities, they're taking the lead. You're supporting that unit. If the supporting unit doesn't have a major role to play, people start loafing around and bullshitting. But then the people who are taking lead are bearing the brunt of what's going on and getting shit details. They're getting, when I say a detail, they're getting a shit, I should probably qualify that. A detail in the military is a role or a job that you're fulfilling, a task. So they're getting shit taskings, while the people who are supporting are supposed to be there so they don't have to do that. And so some NCO goes, hey, what are these fuckers doing here? They're supposed to be supporting us. My guys are getting, shit details left, right, and center. And you think about that in respect to what Mr. Cruz had said just earlier. What he had just said about he has some free time, and so he's going to go chat with this elderly gentleman that he's working with, and he's going to go fucking proselytize. Well, hold on for a second, Mr. Cruz. Hold on for just a goddamn minute. Wait one motherfucking minute. You have enough time to go and proselytize to someone. You got enough free time to go fucking do that at your job. And then when somebody who's there goes, I'm noticing that these guys ain't covering down the way that they're supposed to. And cover down means to go and help somebody else with other tasks. They got too much goddamn free time. You're supposed to be here doing a job. And so he's mad. He's mad that somebody called him out on that. Because you see, if you're there to do a job, Mr. DeRoy Cruz, as somebody who's done quite a few jobs like that, you should be happy. That makes the day go by fast. You're up, you're doing stuff. You are busy. You're being productive. But no, you want more time to get paid to proselytize. That's why you're upset. Because that person, whoever this lady is, whoever this female is here, who's saying this, she sounds like she's doing her job. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like she has surmised, based on what you've described, as a deficiency in the way things are being conducted. Because if you have enough time to proselytize, you got enough time to go do some other tasks that you are getting paid to do. But that tells me a lot about your mindset. Mr. Person who is a few decades my senior. As somebody who's barely into his 30s, I see that problem. I can only imagine this lady who's probably a few years my senior has also ascertained that from the situation, if you will. But no, you are more concerned with planting the seed. Well, go become a fucking preacher. Go do another job. Because obviously you aren't there to do what you are paid to do. On a professional level, you should be ashamed. If you want to go out there and proselytize, then that's fine. Have your church go and support you as a soul winner and have them pay your damn bills. Because I'm pretty sure part of your job title, your responsibilities ain't preach the gospel. Pretty sure. Pretty doggone sure.
Just looked at her and said, "Oh man, you pick on me," and went back outside. But you know what I said? You know what? Come on. You show me what to do. I'll do it. If I didn't pray today, I wouldn't have cared. I would have just said, went back outside. That's your problem, ain't my problem, okay? But I understood that my boss wanted me to work this special shift today, and she don't even know why. The main guy ain't there, so I'm covering for him. His credentials are way above mine. I don't know what this guy does, but yet she has to do part of what he does. I really don't, but I am there because he's not there. So common sense tells me, and I told her today, I said, and she when she seen I was serious, that even though you was being ignorant in a way, in a humorous way, at asking me to do something, actually, it's probably my job, even though we could just leave it out of the bundle because I don't know how to do it. And my boss ain't going to come in here and show me how to do it. But show me how to do it without me messing up the whole computer system. And I'll do it. And she tried to get out of it. I said, come on. She don't want, and you know what? If she don't want to help me do it, she thinks she's too busy to help me do it, which she ain't because she just signed in, okay? Then I just walk out and go back outside and, enjoy the fresh sunshine. But she wanted me to do it, I'll do it. She said, okay. So she came in and I was shocked. She not only came in there once to show me quickly what to do, and I was able to do it. I'm surprised. She came in there twice. I'm still surprised that I caught on as quick. I know it's an answer to prayer, okay? And I did it. I only deleted one person's name out of the computer by accident. Ain't no getting it back once you delete it. But anyway, I'm glad for what God is doing in my life. And today...
I'm sorry, Mr. D-Roy, if you need to pray in order for you to do your job, you should probably find another line of business, my friend. I only deleted one person's name out of the just... Folks. I don't know how to put into words just how negligent that sounded to me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe. But that sounded negligent as hell. I just deleted one person's name. If you are working for any type of security outfit, but I'm not doxing anything about him. He's mentioned his line of business before. And you have credentials, you have people's names and what they need to have access to, and you remove that, that's not cool. Now, there's ways around it where you have to kind of supersede protocol because of extenuating circumstances like these, but that sounded really negligent to me. That sounds kind of serious. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. Well, you know what? Wow. And the other part where, you know what, you're not going to show me how to do it, I'm just going to walk out. So you're going to ignore direct order to do a tasking and just say, screw it. Well, you know what? Not everyone's there to hold your hand. Sometimes you got to figure shit out. I mean, you too old for this shit, Mr. D-Roy. Honestly, and maybe that's just me coming from a military background. I didn't have someone there to hold my hand at all times. Maybe you should work for the VA. Oh God, no, please no, Jesus no, no. Ugh. They have enough problems as is. I don't want him deleting somebody's DD-214 because, somebody came in here and I had an office and they came and busted my office and say, hey, John's not here and you need to fill in John's position because you're closest to him. And I said, that's my door. You gotta knock on my door before I come in. It's like, shut the fuck up. Do your goddamn job. So you got such a hard-on for respect. How about you respect your place of business and do your motherfucking job? Respect that. How about that? Like, does that, like, okay, cool, somebody came at you wrong. All right. You can address that in passing. Say, hey, I got what you're saying. Hold on, you need to slow down a little bit, my man. Tell me what needs to go on, but you need to watch that. Right? You're a grown-ass man. There's been people who come at me the wrong way, but I don't sit there and make a scene because I felt personally offended. Ain't nobody that I work with got that kind of effect on me, but evidently, I guess, maybe because I'm not insecure. That might have something to do with it. But yeah, put some respect on his name. Put some respect on it.
God showed me that God is still using me, and that God loves. There are people out there that God got his eyes on. God is calling this man into the kingdom. I would pick him too. I think he's a nice guy. I think he deserves to know the Lord. I think he deserves to be in the new life with us because he's an all-around good guy. However, in order to get into the new life, the New Jerusalem, it's not a matter of science or evolution. Okay? It's just simply a matter of, what did you say God's address was again? How do you write God a letter? How do you communicate with God? How do you join this club, this membership? How do I get a membership with the Jesus Club? Give me the address and phone number. Help me to have a sit down and a personal interview with God. Help me to have an interview with Christ. So that, and find out how to be a member, so I know how to enjoy what's coming, because I'm not going to be here forever. And I want to enjoy the serious retirement that never stops retiring. God is going to be spectacular. And I was talking to this man about this today. You don't want to miss it. And he had questions and he tried to make excuses, and he looked at me like, wow, and I really believe that I kept this man from becoming an atheist. I believe he was listening to the wrong news.
I don't honestly think so. Like this, when he starts getting vague, that's when I start questioning what exactly he's saying, because we're only hearing one side of this story. We're hearing his side, and as with every story from Uncle D-Roy, he tends to meander in and out of facts, and when things kind of get sort of vague, he kind of skips over details a lot. And not to mention, folks, Mr. D-Roy has a really bad habit of misrepresenting things that people have said. I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell any of you that. You've probably noticed when I say certain things, he will take it and distort it and then say, well, here's what you said, and it resembles nothing close to what I actually said. When it came to things that Matt Dillahunty had said in some of the same videos that we've all seen, he distorts that. When it came to Christopher Hitchens and the debate that he had with Al Sharpton, he distorted that. So Mr. D-Roy has a huge problem with him not telling the truth, just, I guess, ascertaining the facts of a discourse and repeating them back. Not verbatim, but just offering an accurate summation. There's something that happens up here in his brain hole that distorts the reality. And it's probably because he's trying to, retrofit and reconcile things that he doesn't understand. Because you have to keep in mind, he's not that well educated. So what he hears, he has to put it through this jungle gym of nonsense and ignorance. So that's probably what's happening with a lot of these stories. He can't understand people's motivations. He knows nothing about what it's like to be an atheist. He knows nothing about science, nothing about philosophy, nothing about theology, really. So this is what we get. The mangled interpretation from somebody who's inept in a lot of ways. That's just my observation, folks. I could be wrong. Hey, Drag, I've heard from Soccer Account that you're ultra serious about YouTube. Yes, I am super serial. Super serial. Donate. Cash App /Dragnot. Atheist vote bots. Vote down my videos. Need to buy a new dress for my wife. There's shiny snow globes on my Amazon wish list that I need. And a bag of dicks. Yep, that is why he is a straw king. You're right, Jeremy. You're absolutely right. Maybe his listening skills are similar to Sky Out's. You know what? Sky Out has some of the worst listening skills. Like, worse, believe it or not, it's worse than G-Man. At least G-Man waits for, if y'all haven't noticed, because I've been dealing with his ass for years, G-Man doesn't actively listen to anybody. Unless you challenge him, then he actively listens. So you're not listening. Well, yeah, I am. Then he turns on his few brain cells he has left. G-Man can actively listen, he just chooses not to. And he waits for keywords generally. Sky Out, he doesn't, he has that kind of same issue, but he doesn't he doesn't have the experience, right, to know what to say after that. And so, same as you. Yeah. Same as yours. Yeah. Uh-huh. I like pudding. Yeah. Sky to Beth. Yeah. My man got some extra chromosomes, packing away that brain power.
Using the wrong people, and it's real easy, to be deceived when someone you love and care about has a spirit of deception or a spirit of spiritual illness upon her life, and she's telling you these things. But I really believe I kept this man from being an atheist. It might take him a while to be a Christian, but he sure ain't gonna be no atheist. Trust me on that. I slapped that bird out of the water today. Okay, I caught that snake. Okay, and threw him back in the woods today. Okay, this man ain't gonna be no atheist. I also watched today. I just got done watching before I pushed this record button. Got done watching another Jesse Lee Peterson video. There was a Christian on there who claimed he was a Christian. He didn't know that the Bible says. He didn't know what the Bible said about sin. And Peterson said the words right out of my mouth. What kind of Christian are you, dude? He said that on television, man. He said, what kind of Christian are you, dude? And it's true. You know what I'm saying? What kind of Christian are you? There's people out there becoming atheists because of the failure of the church and because, what kind of Christian are you, dude? You don't know anything about God. You don't know anything about the Bible. You can't expect a man who would kill an animal to atone for your sins and make an animal pay for your sins. You think about what kind of being this is. You cannot expect him to give a rat's behind, okay, about the death of millions of people that have turned their back on him. Okay? And if you're too young to sin or be guilty of your sin, if you're too young to be responsible, okay?
If anybody else is kind of confused with where this is going, you ain't the only one.
For your sins. Okay? It's like the government coming in and separating families. Your mama is not going to make it, but the child is. Because the child is not old enough to be responsible for his sins. The child is not old enough to understand what repentance is all about. So the child will be fine, Mom, but you don't get to come to the party. Because you are old enough and you didn't teach this to your kid. Your kid just happened to be ill and can't think for himself what sin is. But
oh, okay. That's
what get to make them kind of excuses because most of them are old enough to go to college. And most of them are in college or just graduated from college. They definitely will receive the stricter judgment. God is definitely not going to have mercy on some college-educated, intelligent somebody who wants to waste his time arguing over liberalism, which is what it's all about, and calling it finding out the truth about God. There is no
So atheism is liberalism now, so because we're conflating terms, and politics and religion are exactly the same thing. Another old man meandering fucking rant. I don't know how many conservative. Hey, there's a conservative atheist in the chat right now. Man, that's so weird. Let's drag that. So if making someone else or something else pay for your sins is wrong, why did Jesus die for his? Yeah, Jeremy, don't ask hard questions. Stop it. It's just now we're back on politics. We're just. Has anyone noticed? Also, in a lot of his videos, that he tends to cast aspersions on college and people who are educated. Like, you can go to college and not be educated. That is entirely true. But does anybody notice that? And then he makes this weird leap to liberalism. This is interesting. That's not to say that people who go to college tend not to be more liberal. That depends on the area. That really does depend on the area. That depends on the college. There are colleges who are conservative. There are colleges that are religious. There's Rice University, 45 minutes away from me is Rice University, right? It has a excellent, I'm sorry, not Rice, Baylor College of Medicine, pretty famous college. Not that liberal, but that's fine. It's still great. But man, there's these weird little leaps that he likes to make. So I think this is his way of reconciling within himself, him not actually having a college education, it is what it is. But he's trying to find a way, desperately, to compensate for that ignorance. trying his best. SMU's not liberal. Yeah, there's plenty of examples of people or colleges who are excellent and they're not liberal. But I guess with his limited understanding, I wouldn't expect him to know that.
Finding out the truth about God by arguing liberalism or legalism. But anyway, I'm closing. God blessed me today. A friend of mine said, when are you going to do another video? That's another blessing today. He loves my videos, even though I told him. On one of my channels, there's several videos where I said some things that were... He said, yeah, don't put your middle finger up on your videos. I did a video where I put my finger up talking about Barack Obama. And I was going to erase it, but I never got around to erasing it. He said, nice videos. Don't put your middle finger up. Well, he didn't hear the ones where I went to talk about black folks and I used the F word. Okay. But I'm glad he's forgiven me. I'm glad that he understands. You know, he's my friend. We go back a long way. Only thing is, he never heard me cuss until recently.
Man, Mr. D-Roy. Mr. D-Roy. I find it, you love this. You love getting on here and just throwing out, man, that vitriol, though. That vitriol. And yes, folks, I've seen some of his race videos. And then some people ask me, Drag, you going to talk about that? All in due time. All in due time. I'm saying it now because he has a bad habit of deleting videos. Bad habit. Don't worry, Mr. D-Roy. Your videos on race, especially black folks, they're being downloaded as we speak. Because I know this, that you still watch my channel. You're still deleting stuff. So just be reassured that I will get to those. I'm saving them though. Those are for later. Because again, I've watched you for a while. I've discussed things with other folks for quite some time. Oh yes. Oh yeah. If you forgot that I mentioned that. A lot of your views on religion and atheists are abhorrent, but your views on race, particularly people with my skin affliction, are even worse in my opinion. I can't wait. You think I've been mean to you? You think I've been poignant, I guess is the word? You have no idea, Mr. Cruz. No idea at all. I don't really care if you make a response video. Thank you, Angry Roach. It didn't matter to me. That's the same thing I told G-Man. You don't have to ever respond to me. I don't need you. I have your content. That's all I need, man. But I find it interesting that you get angry at doing the exact thing that you claim that I'm doing to you. Isn't that funny? There's several videos that you're calling out Matt Dillahunty, Arn Raw. The one I listened to, I should say, yesterday was yet another video where you're using Cosmic Skeptic as your whipping boy, if I could use that metaphor. You find it excellent. You love reviewing other people's stuff. You love calling out what you find to be ignorant. You love that. That gets you off. But let someone do that to you, and all of a sudden you get a quick case of the hush mouth. Why is that, Mr. D-Roy? Why is that? What, you even went so far as to delete videos on your channel. Man, that's interesting. Did any of the people that you review delete videos on their channel? Did they go and hide like you? Because in these videos, I love it. You are so verbose that you have to talk at a third of the speed of a regular fucking person, but you offer some of the most vitriolic and ignorant dissertations I've ever seen on any topic. Like, you can't stay on topic, but just it's excellent to me. It's just the irony is what gets me. You want to have the biggest and best opinion. You're just giving it like it is. In the video that I listened to yesterday, you were complaining that people had an issue to some degree with Christians telling it like it is. Christians like yourself who are just giving the truth. You found it almost insulting that people said that you were trying to indoctrinate them. And it was your right as an American to say what you were going to say. Well, guess what, Mr. Cruz? That goes both ways. But now that the tables have turned, now that I've set my sights on you, do you still feel that way, Mr. Cruz? Because something tells me that you're regretting those words. You're regretting that decision to make not only that video, but several others I've listened to in the past, where you said that very thing, and especially your videos on race, because you have a very interesting, very generalized, trope-laden view of demographics of people. I love it. There's very little that separates you and races. And what's also very weird, and I know I'm going on a tangent, is you have this victim complex that's flexible. Your victim complex isn't unlike G-Man's, but it's still unique. You denounce people using the race card, but you reserve the right to use it for yourself. I have noticed that. In a few of your videos, in quite a few, you reserve the right for that. But then again, you're a hypocrite, and you're insecure, and you're ignorant. That doesn't surprise me. That comes part and parcel with the whatever it is that I see before me. He hasn't made a video. Actually, let me double check. He hasn't made a video in quite some time, and he's been deleting them. Yep. So if you guys hadn't seen, if you hadn't been caught up, when I first started reviewing his videos, the latest video was I'd say about a week. Actually, no, it was a few days. It was a few days before I actually started reviewing it. He's deleted 8 months worth of videos because he figured I'd be reviewing them. And so he doesn't like me reviewing his videos. So I want to say Sabella said there were about 16 to 20 videos he ended up deleting because he didn't like me reviewing them like this at all, whatsoever. That's my lab mate just text me, sorry. Why does everybody want to hit me up at the same time? I don't know what that's about. But, man. Yeah, I know about Cruise for Christ. That was one of the other channels that I saw. But I briefly looked at it. I was like, oh my God, this is more stupidity. I'm gonna leave that one alone. If y'all want some good laughs, go to Cruz and just listen to it. Just listen to it. Mr. Cruz, I enjoy you and I never have to have a conversation. But I think you are one of the quintessential examples of why people, especially now, don't want anything to do with the ignorant. Especially when I say ignorant Christians. Christians are cool. I hung out with Christians yesterday. My extended family's Christian. Very Christian. Very, very Christian. 7-day adventurers. But some of them are. And no problem. I'm treating them like I treat anybody else, if not better. But there's a certain brand of Christian that just dumb the rest of them down. You drive down the average IQ, but you got the most to say. You got the most to motherfucking say. My
videos. But anyway, I repent. I'm sorry. I'm trying to that's why I changed the name to my channel. To change the name of my channel from D-Roy Cruz to Christian Lives Matter, because the topics on there are more radical than basic Christianity. So I really went kind of secular in my rant against atheists. And I come at atheists from a secular level because if you don't believe in God, that's your business. There's no theological way for me to get you to believe in God. The more theological I get, the more theological dumb you're going to become. But the thing is, okay, when you come at atheists from a secular outfit, you kick them where it really hurts the most, because even on a secular level, they are sinful. If you leave God out of it completely, leave the Bible out of it, they still are criminal thugs. Because nobody's paying you, no one's begging you, you're not helping anybody by going out there and persecuting Christians. Who else persecutes Christians? Muslims.
Oh,
okay.
But he's not. Here we go, folks. Criticizing Christianity, criticizing Christians is persecution. Challenging theological beliefs is persecution. He is not a victim. Let me repeat, folks, he is not a perpetual victim. D-Roy Cruz is not, repeat after me, D-Roy Cruz is not a perpetual victim. He is not. He only mentions being persecuted in every fucking video. He only mentions being a martyr in every fucking video. That's it. But he is not. He is not. And yes, I did enjoy the comparison. If you're an atheist, you're a criminal and a thug, and that's wonderful. That's awesome. Awesome.
Every false religion out there. Okay? The government. Okay? Democrats. Liberal Democrats. Okay? And then you want somebody to pat you on the back because you're an atheist. You're an atheist who happens to be a Democrat, who happens to be secular, who happens to act like everybody else that don't like Christians, who happens to threaten Christians and go after Christians just like Muslims, you know, or Arab Muslims, I should say, go after Christians and try to tear down Christians. And you want somebody to pat you on the back. It's not going to happen. Even atheism is unstoppable. I ain't going to pat you on the back for that. He was on the Jesse Lee Patterson show today. I watched that. And I can't believe that he didn't go off on Jesse Lee, you know, when Jesse Lee like really put him down about his atheistic attitude. But Devin is really different than a lot of atheists. He's not the knucklehead that a lot of them are. Matter of fact, he criticizes a lot of them. And he's getting older and he's growing. He told Patterson tonight, he says, I really don't really talk that much about atheism anymore. He says, I'm really going after the bad guys. The people that are really, really, really trying to destroy this country. And he agreed with Patterson when Patterson told him, most atheists are naturally Democrats. How does that affect you as an atheist? And he agreed with Patterson.
I'm not sure why atheism is unstoppable gets to speak for other. I'm pretty sure that there's no coincidence that Jesse Lee Peterson and atheism is unstoppable are talking to one another. Just don't throw that out there. But you have to wonder. He has a weird choice of go to paper. One. Okay, I misread. Yeah, misread a question. Anyway,
atheists are atheists not just because religion has failed or Christians have failed, but they're atheists because just like everybody else that is dumb enough to attack Trump supporters with violence, they feel that to rob this country of everything that it has traditionally and make it into this new pagan utopia, okay, that will destroy us within and without, okay, you can't pat an atheist on the back for that.
So, atheists are trying to make this into a pagan utopia. Oh, okay, so if you don't believe in a God and God or gods, you are trying. One of your goals would be to try and turn your society into one that is dominated by several deities or supernatural entities. That makes perfect sense, Mr. D-Roy Cruz. That makes absolute motherfucking sense. I applaud your logic. That's, you know what? You win. You win, D-Roy. You win.
Because you're just being the most democratic of the Democrats. You're just being the most liberal of the liberalists. Okay?
I think he's confused with being Democrat with being democratic. You can being democratic is, you know what? I'm not even gonna go out. Just okay. We know what he's trying to say.
You're not being anything unique and special that really helps the problem. You're just making it worse. You're just adding more fire to the gasoline, or more gasoline to the fire, I should say. You're just adding more hurt to the wound. You're just adding more violence, more, you're provoking more and more hatred, more and more animosity and separation and more distance between peoples. And that's not going to make God go away, because God, this is another thing, and I'm closing. I didn't know the video would take this long, but here's another good point. Patterson said that God doesn't argue. He told atheism is unstoppable. He told Devin this, and Devin said, wow, while you're a Christian like I've never heard before, Patterson, and he's true. And Patterson is right. There's some things I disagree with Patterson about, but Patterson is right about this. He said, God doesn't need you. God doesn't need you to believe in him. He says God and Jesus, he said God and the Son, but God and Jesus are getting together, okay, and pouring each other a glass of lemonade. He might have said a beer, jokingly, but I don't think God drinks beer. But he said, God and Jesus are getting together, pouring a glass of lemonade, and they turning on the big giant TV screen. He was, you know, being comical about it. And he said they're looking at it and they're saying, look at all these crazy people. If that's what they want to do, hey, it just ain't coming on this other side of the screen. That's all. Okay? But the thing is, the Bible does say that God looks down from heaven to see if anybody understands, to see if there is any.
He means Jesse Lee Peterson. He's kind of caught up in the mystique of being a fucking life application officer. He tends to forget things.
Righteous, no, not one. Okay. So, I was blessed today to talk to an atheist, finally. A guy that was sucking up that atheist nonsense, and he was running with it, and he didn't know that he would run into a Christian because he doesn't go to church anymore. He didn't think he would run into a Christian. But he ran into DeRoy Cruz, your life applications officer, today. I slapped the atheism out of him. I slapped it right out of him. He ain't going to be no atheist. I guarantee you. I will see him in the next life. In Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord. I will talk to you soon with another video. I have to do part 3 of my separation video. That's coming up next. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. See you soon, Lord willing.
Wow. He ain't gonna be no atheist
well,
no
hey,
more.
DeRoy Cruz here.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. There are some comments under this. A quick 40 minutes. Wow, you have way too much time in your hands. Either you believe in a sky daddy or not. I cannot tell you what you believe, but it's either yes or no, atheist or theist. And then he replies to this person who is Saber15, Christian, totally out of your league. And this was Andre 64B. Says, and I'm not going to watch 40 minutes of you rambling incoherently. And he replies, 40 minutes with a Christian is like 40 minutes with soap and water. You either like to take a bath or you're just funky and nasty. Awesome responses, Mr. Cruz. I cannot tell you how edified people feel from your like. I love when these guys, and I talk about things that I love a lot. He fancies himself a teacher. He fancies himself somebody who is really, really, really endowed with some type of magical motherfucking power to convince folks of this, that, and the other, to change minds and to warp reality. I don't know. But I always want to see people display these powers on me. I would love to. But as Mr. Cruz told one of the people in the comments section, out of your league. And I think that's why Mr. DeRoy has, I'll accept your duel. That's why Mr. DeRoy has decided that he does not want to engage. He no longer wants to play the game. He was cool up until the point that somebody challenged him directly. After that, he fell apart. That's a shame. That's such a shame, Mr. DeRoy. Such a motherfucking shame. But maybe one day you'll learn that perhaps you shouldn't bite off more than you can chew. I think that the time you spend away from YouTube may be best spent doing some research, maybe doing a little bit of learning that you probably should have done in the last 20 years of your goddamn life. But before you get on the internet and start posturing about what you know and what you think other people don't know and how people act and how you think people don't act, actually spend some time outside of your workplace where you're supposed to be working and actually experience life. And what do you mean? Some of these places that you are averse to, like college, like institutions of learning, you should probably go visit them. Not to learn, because it seems that you're kind of incapable of that, but to experience. Actually experience the same people that draw your ire. And so that when you've had your fill of having discussions with people who are somewhat learned in these topics, in philosophy and theology and religion, or theology and religion, same thing, science, maybe once you've gained some of that experience, you can kind of come back a new man. That's just my suggestion, because it seems that you've just a fish out of water. It's easy when you're in your small congregation and y'all are sniffing each other's asses. It's real easy. It's real easy to talk to an old man who is simply a backslidden Christian who has doubts and who's been fed some lines by his daughter. Probably not the best things in the world, but who knows? But you guess that you want him for the Lord. You don't know. You just guess. I don't know. I planted the seed. The man was already a Christian. You didn't plant shit. You didn't plant a goddamn thing. You've given him another perspective that he may or may not have had, but the seed was already... You're looking at a tree that was withering. You're not going to plant a new tree. So if you think that you're doing something, how about you start with somebody, Mr. Cruz, who was not raised with religion, who has been introduced to it throughout his or her travels, of course. But someone who's been deep in their atheism, as you call it, for quite some time, then I'd be impressed. Then if you could actually convince that person, I would say, you know what, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he does have what it takes, but I don't think so. Something tells me you don't. So anyway, folks, research. I ain't never been to no library. Yeah, it's just... I doubt he can spell research. So I won me some points back. I could be cheap and just grant myself points, but I'm not going to do that, because you know what? That would be just silly and cheating. So it is 0FAP30. I am your life failure officer, Dragnock Silvis, signing off, and have a blessed day.